Alrighty, fellas, let's go ahead and just sort of knock out all three of these missions from stage 3 at one time, right? Because might as well. If you guys want to see a video on all three of these categories separately, let me know in the comments below. However, what I would say to that is these are basically the best units on each of the 3 category missions, right? So the 3 category missions are androids, Android Cell Saga, and Target Goku. So the leader of this team is AGL Cell, and you guys can kind of look at the construct of the team. I mean, who the hell else are you really bringing on this team? I mean, obviously we don't have, like, the Super 17, right? I mean, we don't have him over here on Global. But, like, dude, like I said, like, who else are you really going to bring? We've got the Big Daddy on the team, right? Int LR Cell. He's the one you definitely want to make sure that you bring, right? I mean, he's for sure the guy. He is that guy, right? Particularly after he transforms, which we should get a pretty good taste of in this video if my memory serves. So hopefully we do. I guess there's one unit that I did not include on this team. That would be the tech androids, right? Tech androids I didn't include on this team. I decided, I think at the last second, to throw on the STR cell, the STR, second form cell, just to kind of maximize like the support factor and like the big bad bosses of the cells, right? I tried to make this team kind of about the cells here. I did, however, throw on 19 and 20. They can, of course, absorb Ki Blast super attacks, which can be really, really good. Tech androids, upon kind of looking at this team, didn't end up mattering a ton, but probably would have been a better choice, maybe over the, let me think here, over the, either the Int 6, probably the Fizz 16 and 18, right? Probably would have been a better choice over them. I've never been too crazy about that card. I do finally, I think I have them rainbowed. I think they're rainbowed now. At the very least, they're 90%. So they do perform pretty well. It just occurred to me. They are not, the tech androids, not on Target Goku. Yes, that's what, okay. That makes a lot more sense of why I didn't bring them, right? I just wanted to get it all done in one fell swoop, right? So anyway, we can kind of go ahead and talk about the teams. In these kinds of videos, I do like to talk about the team I'm running and why I selected the characters and talk a little about the characters. So Imperfect Cell, Second Form Cell, and then Perfect Cell, right? So this is the AGL Cell, the leader of the team. Transforms in the same way of like transforming Goku, transforming Frieza, and transforming Vegeta, right? So transforming into Second Form Cell on turn 3 if you had them in turn 1. And then, of course, transforming into Perfect Cell on turn 5. Now, I'll just say right off the rip, man, when you get to that Perfect Cell, he's a monster, dude. This Imperfect Cell can be effective if you're in Super Battle Road against multiple enemies. But other than that, he's kind of just a pretty mediocre unit, I would say. When he's getting the extra attack defense, evasion and this kind of thing against 3 or more or 2 or more enemies, he's really, really nasty. You can see him put up some gaudy numbers in Super Battle Road for sure. Before I get into the rest of the team and the rest of Cell's kit, I was a little unsure. I hopped into this stage just completely raw, right? I didn't really watch any other videos on it or anything like that. Didn't do any research. But this Hercule, man, he dodges. Now, the first time I smacked him with a normal attack, he got hit and died. So I'm actually a little unsure if he just needs to get hit by a normal. But in the end, it ended up building up our characters a little bit, so it wasn't really the end of the world. It just kind of extended the run for a minute or two, an extra minute or two. You can see him just dodging like crazy here. So turn 3 AGL Cell, he transforms into Second Form Cell. He gets baseline, he's getting baseline evasion 17%. And then he performs a bit better. He gets a little bit of extra stuff, right? A little bit of extra crit chance, evasion chance against 2 or more enemies, which you do encounter from time to time in these collection of epic battles, but primarily you're up against one enemy. Well, Perfect Cell, dude. Perfect Cell He really is. He's one of the better TURs in the game. If it was just Perfect Cell and no one else, there was no buildup, dude, he'd be fucking busted. So Perfect Cell, baseline, 250% attack and defense, just start of turn. Keeping in mind also that Imperfect Cell and Second Form Cell, they are stacking attacks, so for what that's worth, if you get them at, a couple of additional attacks, it's definitely not going to hurt your performance. But he gets an additional 50% attack and defense on Super, and then his Super attack effect is raising attack and defense for 1 turn. So he can triple Super, so he's got a high chance of launching an additional Super attack. And he has baseline 35% dodge and then 35% chance to crit. So he still performs very, very well. And remember, he actually links up well with like other cell units, right? So like LR Int Cell, for instance, he links up with very well. So just, again, something to kind of bear in mind here, that Perfect Cell, man, he really is pretty bananas still, like to this day. Whereas I would say that the Super Saiyan Goku Gohan, man, I'm really not overly impressed with that unit. I think Cell has always low-key been the better unit, if you ask me. Now, all of that being said, this is going to be a pretty effective turn from Second Form Cell right here. So we have a double support rotation for him, a lot of his pertinent links active, and he gets an 8 million attack stat, man. I mean, that's pretty good considering we're not even at his peak, but that's just the power of links right there, and then, of course, a buttload of support for sure. Now, really the other main player on this team is LR Int Cell, and he's definitely a unit. I feel like I really did kind of build the team more or less around him. I mean, our units were pretty restrictive just to begin with, because all of these units are on 3 categories, right? They share more than 3 categories, but you guys get it right. They're all on the Android Cell Saga, and Target Goku. But again, building the team around LR Cell is not a horrible idea for sure. Now, right here, I think in hindsight, I don't know if that was like an error I just clicked, but I think I was just really banking on 16 getting his guard right here, and he really did get it. I must have been trying to float off Cell. For what reason? I recorded this a few days back, so forgive me. I'm not entirely sure what I was doing there. I just figured maybe he was my best shot of surviving if he activated his guard. Remember, when he activates his guard, he gets 60% damage reduction, right? And he's, I believe, greatly raising defense on Super. He's just overall, man, he's just really, really solid, that Int 16. One of the better free-to-play units that they've come out with recently. I really do like the design of that 16. He's really, really nasty on one category, and I think that is kind of the way to go. Unless you're making them just uber mega supports or like, great chance to dodge or something like that. I think that probably is the way to go. Oh yeah, I think I probably wanted him on rotation with my AGL Cell. That must have been what I was doing here for sure. I've got to give it up to myself. I feel like that's the move. That's the move I made right there. But Int 16, he's really just a nice accessory piece to kind of throw on the team when there's really no other options. I mean, he's just overall, he's really good. He can tank, on that Android Cell Saga team. He can tank Cell Max. He can tank any red zone boss, man, with that guard, the damage reduction, and then, of course, the greatly raising defense on Super. He can tank, man. He can tank, right? The boy can tank. So he's definitely one of these units. He's not going to output a ton of damage for you. But again, he can tank, right, in the right situation. So he's only got the high chance to guard, so just bear that in mind when using him. So I started to talk about LR Int Cell a bit. Now, post EZA, man, LR Int Cell, his just Cell Perfect form is, I would say, a little bit underwhelming. But he's still solid, right? He holds his own. Remember, he gets a lot stronger when there are more enemies on the field. The problem with that, it is very infrequent that there is more than one enemy on the field. In like a very small handful of red zone fights, like the beginning phase will have more than one enemy. But it's just like red zone, man, is really, again, it is kind of what matters, right? You can really kind of muddle yourself through any Super Battle Road stage. You can use 8 items in Super Battle Road, right? Extreme Super Battle Road. Red Zone, man. What they need to start doing, and what I predict they will start doing, is start adding super class enemies and then adding more than one enemy. So you can actually use more than the same characters, right, every single time you're running Red Zone. I think that would really, really benefit. That's certainly why they dropped something like the collection of epic battles. Like, yeah, it's more content for sure. But I think it really does help you use a little bit more of a variety of units. You're not just taking Power Awakened Piccolo or, you know, LR AGL Gohan into every single event, right? It actually does kind of make you change it up a little bit, which I do certainly appreciate. But LR Incel, a bit lackluster in, you know, his base form, but when he transforms, boy, oh my Lanta, right? He gets absolutely ridiculous. If you get him 8 orbs and you get him his 24 key super, this guy is outputting more damage than like STR Super Vegito, you know, something like that. Like, he is just outputting insane, crazy amounts of damage. He's also reducing damage by 3% per key sphere obtained. He's got a high chance to crit when his key is 24 or during his active skill turn. Dude, he's a monster, man. He is just an absolute monster. You know, and then just crazy amounts of defense upon super attacking. So anyway, man, I cannot sing LR Incel's praises enough, right? He is just an absolute animal, right? He's one of these units, one of these like kind of new age power creep units that'll drop like a 25 million attack stat and then a 20 million attack stat. And oh, by the way, they're both, you know, 50% chance to crit. You know what I mean? And not to mention he's got all this damage reduction and defense and just all this crazy shit going on, right? Not to mention, let's not forget about the full heal he gives you when your HP is 40% or below. So that is really, really good. Now, here comes the big boy, right? This is, you know, AGL perfect Cell, right? So we get him to come out and play. He is very strong. All of a sudden, we're kind of here on the last phase. So this will be a double support turn for Cell, but like none of his big links active, you know, particularly no big bad bosses, no gentlemen, you know, that kind of stuff. But he's still sitting there with, you know, pushing 300k defense, and he can, you know, he gets a lot of defense on super attack, and he can super 3 times. So he's got the chance to dodge as well, which cannot be understated in today's meta. For sure. Now, this turd of a unit there I put in slot 1. So this is Extreme Fizz 16 and 18, right? So they've, man, do they have a weird kit. They can actually be pretty solid defensively, I would say. There's the double super, right? So they're certainly not going to output too much damage, but they are just wacky, man. They have a medium chance to guard if there's an extreme class enemy attacking in the same turn. They have a medium chance to be super effective against all types if there's a super class ally attacking in the same turn. They provide attack 34% when they're, and then defense 16% when there is an extreme class. When there is a super class enemy, and then the opposite would be true. So it would be, what, 34% defense and then 16% attack when there's an extreme class enemy. So they're providing a little bit of extra attack to some of these units. And just like in today's meta, you really just kind of value the defense. I guess what you could say to that, in primarily a lot of the tough opponents are extreme class, so they are providing a bit more defense there. Just overall, a really fucking wacky unit, man. Just really overall. They were kind of the best of a bad bunch at a certain point. A lot of these, I think I'm going to revisit all of these Saga-style teams. A lot of these Saga teams, man, they're not quite there yet. There's just not quite enough fleshed out. I think there are some overwhelmingly powerful units on all of these teams, and particularly Majin Buu Saga after the 8th anniversary. There's obviously, you know, that mega behemoth in the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, right? That unit. You know, they're certainly like a mega top tier option. You know, Majin Buu Saga, though, is not super good. You've got Majin Vegeta on it, I guess, right? But really, I don't know who you're running on that team. You've got this Android Cell Saga. Planet Namek Saga, you have a bit there, but then again, some of the top tier LRs are kind of fading, you know, in the Namek Goku, Full Power Frieza. Boy, boy, oh boy. Yeah, yeah. And then you've got Android Cell Saga, you know, Dragon Ball Saga. I guess you do have the Kid Goku, but like, who the hell else you running on that team? I guess Android 8 and then Master Roshi, but regardless, I guess a conversation for other videos. Last unit I haven't really talked about is the STR Second Form Cell. Just another one of these units that he was really good on release. He's an extreme class Android Cell Saga support. 40% 3 key, which is actually really good. And then sharing a lot of big links with some of these big time units, you know, the AGL Cell, obviously Second Form Cell STR, and then Second Form Cell AGL. They link up incredibly well. Even LR Int Cell, they link up pretty well. And then again, providing some big time key support, and then, you know, 40% attack and defense, which is really, really good. That's a good support unit right there. But, you know, in the end, I think after, you know, post super attack, I think they're packing about 500k defense, which just in today's meta is just not really good enough. Pretty solid. I guess pretty solid, but we need a little bit more for this Android Cell Saga team. AGL Cell's about to fucking tear this Gohan a new one. You know, 9 milli, he can do this 3 times. I think it's only going to take 1, though. So, I guess we didn't get LR Perfect Cell here, but it is okay, right? We still got the fat W. I'll go ahead and take it. No item run, very easy. I believe this was first try. So, guys, let me know what you think of this video in the comments below. Let me know what you think of these Saga teams, man. I think they need some work. Slap a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you happen to be new, and I will catch all of you in the next one. Later.